Hi everyone, this is Paul Lang for DTS, and this is the play of the week for the week ending September 24th. Actually, I have two play of the weeks for you because I promised you wanted to show you a losing play and how that panned out. And I had a nice play I wanted to show on the good side and the one on the bad side because I complained about this Friday afternoon and also all day Saturday during my class because I did a couple things that I just never normally do. Play of the week. First of all, the first one is going to be the one that did well. This is Mattel. It was a short on Friday the 22nd. Both these actually happened Friday the 22nd. The strategy was based on a pro gap and the entry on a 1-minute DTS sell setup. Management was advanced in this case, and reward to risk ended up being overall 2.2 to 1. Let's take a look what happened here. This is the hourly chart being shown on the big screen. And you have a little subset there, the daily chart. You can take a look at. The gap on the daily chart is kind of hard to see right there, but the daily chart has been beat up for quite a while, and the hourly gap was very nice. Not a big one, just enough to do the job. Bringing this down to the 5-minute chart, you can see the gap that occurred there on the left side of the screen. That's the beginning of the day. And then as the stock went sideways, I shorted the top of that consolidation with a 1-minute sell setup, and then sat with it for a while as it just sat there in a nice tight base. As it based long enough, the initial entry I had was at 1469, the stop at 1481, which you can see is way up by the almost to the high of the day, up at the top of that red bar. As it consolidated long enough, I decided to bring the stop down and to add shares at 1464, under 1465, with the stop coming down to 1474. Shortly after that, the stock began to break down, had a really nice decline. I was hoping it would go lower, but with that much of a decline, I locked half the profits very tight right there at 1447. And then I put a stop on the rest up at 1456, and the rest of it went out right there. It did end up being the low of the day that declined into 1 o'clock, so it was the right thing to do. So overall, the 500 risk over 1100 profits. It took most of the day. It took all day really for this one to end up panning out. It trailed out around 1:30, 2 o'clock, so it was most of the day in this one. Now, the other one was a long play on the QQQ. This is the same day, a little bit later that morning. QQQ being the market itself, of course, the NASDAQ 100 ETF. The strategy was on a DTS buy setup, the entry on a 2-minute pattern failure, and this was my problem right there. Management, I'm calling stupid. It really was the management of the entry that was stupid, and the reward to risk was a 1 loss, a full risk unit loss. 5-minute chart, there was a lot of support here. This is on the daily chart. I had put in the letter to be long off that support area. The gap down would have been really the place to be long right in here for that move. That would have been great. When we came down to revisit here, I didn't want it there, but on this revisit right here is where I wanted to get in. And I should have got in aggressively. Instead, I got in over the top of that base, and that was the mistake. Because of the entry being at 144.19 and the stop down at 143.99, I never ended up taking any profits on it, and you can see that it eventually stopped out. Now, I should have used an aggressive advanced management type entry that I use right down here, and if I would have done that without question, I would have taken profits right there instead of being stopped out down here. So I had complained, and whether the play would have worked or not, my entry was the wrong entry for that one. I stalled, I waited, I took a late entry, and it didn't follow my plan of how to play this one, and that upset me on that. So that is a losing play showing you in the second play of the week here. People asking how the room has been doing. We are through our first 4 weeks of actual members. It's not including the first trial week where the room did make money. This was the final stats for those first 4 weeks. You can take a look. I teach people, train people that they should be making a solid living once they're good at 1 risk unit a day or 5 a week. You can see how we're averaging here and look at the stats for the room. And I want to emphasize these are all very playable type plays. This is not a hyper scalpy type room. All these plays are discussed well ahead of time. I said 45 out of 46 we actually discussed this last 4 weeks. One of them came up by a room member at the last minute, so it's kind of fast, but actually was still very playable by anybody that wanted to do it. So check out those stats if you like, and if you're interested, you can access the website to find out about getting a trial to the DTS trading room. Until next time, folks, this is Paul Lang. Good trading, everybody.